Social media can make it feel like there's only one way to enjoy success. Make lots of money and spend it. After I made my first million at 26, that's exactly what I did. In fact, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on all the things I thought meant success. And I was miserable. Here's how I spent that money and the truths I learned along the way about what real success is. When I first moved to New York City as a bright-eyed 20-something-year-old, my dream was to live in a luxury high-rise. But I definitely couldn't afford it on my salary. So I guess the first thing I looked for after I decided to start spending some money. Now, I'm kind of torn because I really loved our experience in that apartment. It looks pretty cool, right? But it was really far from Steven's work, which in my defense, he didn't mention and I didn't realize until after we'd signed the lease. Plus, the rent was about 7 times what we'd been paying before, which meant that even though we could technically afford it, felt very stressful and frankly was more than I should have been spending. But I was chasing that feeling of having made it. Spoiler alert, I never felt that feeling once in that apartment, aside for, maybe the first 5 minutes after we moved in. But once that lease was up, we moved to an apartment where the rent was about half as much. It wasn't nearly as luxurious, but it felt so much better. Technically, it was a downgrade. But here's the thing. The apartment I live in now costs more than that first luxury apartment. Because moving to that more appropriately priced apartment gave me the peace of mind and more funds to invest in growing my business and thus my income year after year. So that now, almost 10 years into running my business, I have a home I love even more and it doesn't feel stressful. I wish someone would have told me this back then. As long as you don't give up, you will have all of the things and the life that you want, but don't force it. Prioritize your peace of mind and your enjoyment first. Everything else will follow. That's how you get everything you want even faster anyways. But because I didn't know this back then, I was really busy buying all the things I hadn't been able to afford before. Like all the nice handbags, which I used to be so obsessed about. Because in my mind back then, if you had a nice handbag, you'd made it. I'm not saying that's the truth, and in fact, that's why I'm laughing at myself now, but we all have our money stories, and that was one of mine. But I'll never forget the first time I walked into a Givenchy boutique. I had my eye on the gorgeous Antigona, but I was so unconfident back then and so desperate to prove that I'd made it. I'm sure everyone in the store could tell that I felt like an imposter. It was really awkward too. Everyone ignored me until I walked up to a salesperson and asked him to see all the Antigonas. Then he reluctantly asked if I wanted some water, which they'd offered immediately to all the other customers who'd walked in. I fell in love with the bag and bought it on the spot. And I still have it to this day. But as soon as I got out of the store, I regretted the purchase. It doesn't help that I still think it's gorgeous, but I've used it less than 5 times. It doesn't suit me or my lifestyle. I just loved the idea of being someone who had such a gorgeous designer bag. Don't get me wrong. Yes, buy yourself nice things if that's what you like and you're in a position to be able to do so. I still love them. But contrary to popular unwisdom, that designer handbag or whatever your thing is won't make you feel any more successful or richer or up your vibe. At least not for long anyways. You gotta build that feeling within yourself first. But the truth is, and I wish someone would have told me this too, once you build your inner confidence and self-belief, anything you wear will look like $1 million. Plus, that confidence will support you in growing your income too, because that's how you really up your vibe. Then you'll get to enjoy the actual stuff even more. But something I felt like I had to invest in was first class or business class travel. Quite a few of my mentors told me it's about the networking, or just do it. Well, let me tell you, to this day, I have not spoken to a single person I've sat next to in first or business class. When I'm traveling, I don't want to talk to other people. I know I can't be the only one, but I still fly first or business class. For me, it's worth it to have a little extra space and be treated like an actual human being. Sad that that's the case, but I'm calling it like I see it. That being said, when I drive a RAV4 because I don't really care about cars. My only non-negotiable is seat warmers. Seriously. While I'm glad those mentors helped me figure out what I care about, that actually wasn't their goal, which is one of the reasons why I no longer work with them. Because there is never a time when you have to spend money or not spend it on anything. Figure out what you like, then use your money for you. But sometimes you gotta experiment to figure it out. On a whim, I invested in a fancy gym membership and a personal trainer. When the trainer asked me why I wanted to work out, I was honest. I just want to get hot. But that turned out to be one of my best investments because that was the first time in my life I learned how to take care of myself physically. Last year, when I was going through freezing my eggs, I thought about this a lot because the business was growing more than ever, but that process was really hard on my health. I would have traded anything to feel and be healthy. I didn't realize this back then, but nothing matters more than your health. But I had another takeaway that was just as important. I'd chosen that gym on the recommendation of a friend, but I didn't realize it was a gym popular among celebrities. I'm sitting there one day working out when in walks Jennifer Lopez. I can't believe it. I am so starstruck. I am sitting there like a dum-dum with this big smile on my face. I never talked to her, but I learned something so huge from her. That woman has an insane work ethic. Before that, I thought I worked hard, but you'd see her doing reps like a machine. I still can't believe how many she did without even being out of breath. I'd also hear her talking about her schedule, and it is grueling. Today, full day of shooting. Tomorrow, full day of meetings, 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. On and on. I don't know that I aspire to that level of work, but it opened my eyes to the fact that that's what it takes to play at her level. But I never would have thought of that as a potential takeaway from investing in working out. So if there are two things that are worth investing in and you're feeling the call to do it and you can afford it, do not feel guilty about doing it. Investing in your health is always worth it. And invest in being around people who have the level of success you want. You will learn things you didn't even know you didn't know. But as you grow, you probably don't want to outgrow your family and friends, right? I used to have this huge fear that I'd outgrow Steven. We even talked about this in our Q&A. But I knew it'd be helpful if we could share experiences that would help both of us grow. Sometimes that included just talking and sharing insights. But a fun thing I did, which I still consider one of the best investments I made that year, is treating us to nice restaurants because we both love food. And eating at even semi-nice restaurants was a completely new experience for both of us. You should have seen Steven. It was so sweet. He was looking at the prices and feeling really nervous. He would ask me, "Are you sure you want another drink?" Because now we know that those are just regular NYC prices, but they felt so expensive to us. But I enjoyed seeing him enjoy that experience more than I think anything else I spent money on that year. And over time, things like this helped him shift his thinking around money and what's possible. So don't worry about outgrowing your loved ones. They can grow with you. High five to that. Now, to be clear, I am all for everyone making the money they want and using it the way you want. I truly believe anyone can build the business of their dreams if you're willing to put in the work. But I hoped this has helped you know that if you haven't hit your income goal yet, you're gonna be okay. Keep at it. And if you have hit your goal, but you feel like you made a big mistake along the way, like with an investment or spending, I want you to know that that's normal and also okay. Plus, people talk about income goals as the end all be all in business. As you can hopefully tell, I disagree. There's your peace of mind, freedom of time, happiness, and health as well, all of which are not mutually exclusive to growing your business. I really hope you found this helpful. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was.